Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So this is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. I've been daily driving it for the past week. If you follow my channel or read my work regularly, you may know that I've been on board since the original Galaxy Fold. I paid my own money for that phone actually. And now, even though when I first got that first Fold, I said all the great things about it because I wanted a device that fits in my pocket that can give me a larger screen, and I thought the Fold 1 delivered on that. Now in hindsight, looking back at it, man, that device was so rough around the edges. When it folded, it had this really weird look that felt like a taco. You can clearly see that one side was thicker than the other. The hinge area stuck out so much that the device was not symmetrical. The outside screen was barely usable and the inside screen felt flimsy, and the hinge was also a little bit wobbly. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 feels like, to me, the final evolution of Samsung's vision. This feels like everything is as polished as it can be. When it comes to the fundamentals of a foldable phone, the inner display material, the hinge rigidity, the durability, and the overall kind of construction software performance, it feels like this is the final form, the final evolution. And it also means that going forward with the Fold 7 and 8, Samsung really needs to then find other areas to innovate, because I just don't see how this current idea of the Fold can get more polished than this. There are Chinese foldable phones right now that are even thinner and lighter than the Fold 6, but at this point, the lighter weight and the thinner build are just nice to have. They are bonus features. They're not really gonna make a big difference in your hand or in your pocket. Right now, the Fold 6 weighs 239 grams, or about 0.47 pounds, and it measures 12.1 millimeters thick and 6.3 millimeter when unfolded. And to be honest, this is thin and light enough at this point. I do have one complaint, that Samsung made the corners even sharper than before, especially this hinge corner right here. Like right here, it comes to a really hard 90-degree angle, and when I hold my phone in my left hand, it digs into my palm every single time, and it is quite uncomfortable. But this is a problem that is specific to me, because if you hold your phone in the right hand, it is a little bit better right here. And of course, most people, like 90% of people, will use a case. And when you snap on a case, it is perfectly fine, especially Samsung's first party case with the S Pen built in. I've actually been using it quite a lot, not just because I find this phone a little bit uncomfortable to hold with the left hand, but also because the S Pen comes in very handy now. And that's one of the areas that will set the Fold 6 apart from the other Chinese foldables, which I'll get into very soon. So you have a 6.3-inch screen. It's actually a little bit wider than before. It feels more like a conventional phone. And I can actually two-hand type on the outside at almost the normal speed that I usually do. You also notice that the hinge right here on the left side no longer sticks out like the previous several folds. So now when you look at the phone from the front, it actually looks really symmetrical. Like, it looks very clean and modern. Unfold, you have a brilliant 7.6-inch screen on the inside that gets very bright. So max brightness up to 3000 nits. So right now I'm completely under uncovered California sun, and you can still see the screen pretty clearly. The hinge is the best in class. Now, this is one area where I don't really need any caveat. Even Chinese foldables hinge are not better than this hinge. It is super sturdy, super rigid, and it actually stays still at even angles where it's almost closed and almost open. Like, even at this point, you see, it doesn't wobble. With a lot of Chinese foldables, at this stage, the phone would just flop open. And then you have a triple camera system here. In my initial hands-on, I said this was completely unchanged from the Fold 5, but turns out I was wrong. Samsung actually did upgrade the ultra-wide sensor. It's a little bit better in terms of sharpness in the corners, and I find the dynamic range to be much better too. But the main camera and the telephoto are absolutely unchanged, so it's a little bit disappointing for me, especially since Chinese foldable phones, they're putting out foldables with a periscope zoom lens and a main camera with a larger image sensor. Another area that I wish Samsung had gone a little bit more with the Fold 6 is the battery size. So the cell in here is just a 4,400 mAh cell, which is smaller than every other Chinese foldable phone on the market right now. And remember, those phones are actually thinner. Now, battery life is still pretty good because of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip. So I use this phone very heavily, multitask all the time, outside 12-13 hours, and it's fine for about 12-13 hours. But then beyond that, I will need to find my way to a charger or a portable battery. Fortunately, I have a really good one from today's video sponsor, Sarge. So this is the Sarge 140. It is a transparent portable battery pack. You have 2 port right here, a USB-C that can pump out 100 watt of maximum power. So that's definitely more than enough for this phone. In fact, I even use this to charge my MacBook Air quite a lot. And then you have a USB-A that pumps out 40 watt of power. And you can use both ports at the same time for total output of 140 watt. And the whole time you're charging, you have an LED screen right here that shows you the exact wattage that you're pumping out to your devices. Now, I've covered several of these Sarge chargers. This is one of my favorite because it is significantly lighter than the Sarge 170 while still giving you a lot of power. 20,000 milliamp hours, really large enough for any device out there, and it's still small enough that you can fit into your pocket and it doesn't look ridiculous. Now right now Sarge has a special discount. You can get this charger for $99 US. If you're interested in this guy, please check out the link in the description below. So earlier I mentioned that there's a first party case for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. I've been using it because it actually softens the hinge corners, so now it feels more comfortable in the hand, and I'm really a big fan of this S Pen. Now, I've never liked using an S Pen with a fold phone before, up until last year with the Fold 5 and Samsung introduced this case, because finally the stylus can stay with the phone at all times without adding too much bulk. Look at this case. It doesn't really make the phone feel very clunky and unusable. Now, there's a front end too that I'm not using, but this provides enough protection, and I really like this S Pen because Samsung software finally justifies the S Pen experience. Of course, with the S Pen, you can do things like sketch and illustrate, but really my favorite features this year, it's Samsung's AI, the Galaxy AI that was introduced in the S24 Ultra. So the newest feature this year is called Sketch to Image. You can basically take any image and you can just draw something, and Samsung's Galaxy AI will use generative AI and turn that into a professional illustration or a 3D graphic or pop art. You have various art styles to choose from, and the generative process takes anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think this is a little bit gimmicky, but I quite like it because I've always been someone that like to play with photos, to troll friends, to mess with friends. Like, for example, like I have this picture of my friends right here, and I just drew a dog right here, and then it generated this kind of realistic looking image of this dog right here. I think if I send this picture to my mom, she would not know that this dog here does not exist. It's generative AI. Right here's a photo of my dad and some lady in the background. I drew a hat on both of them, and here's the result. Both of them are now wearing a hat, and again, it looks realistic enough. You even see shadows of the hat casting over my dad's forehead. Of course, Samsung's other AI features are here, such as the ability to summarize an article from a website, or you have live two-way interpretation that actually supports Cantonese. 喂，聽唔聽到我講嘢啊？食咗飯未啊？收唔收到啊？ So you sell that and then it translates to English almost in real time, and it works even without internet. And this is very accurate. It's very difficult to do because Cantonese is a very difficult language. And of course, you have circle to search, which is one of my favorite features of the S24. Now, a lot of people say that, oh, you can do this on any other phone with Google Lens. I know, but circle to search, it's a little bit more intuitive and a little bit easier. So many times I've been able to just like, oh, I see like something that my friend's wearing. I can just like long press on the home button, draw a circle, and then immediately find that exact product right here. Samsung's foldable software is just really polished. I love the multitasking features to open 2 windows at the side, or I can even open 3 windows at the same time. And then of course you can open YouTube videos in horizontal mode, which you can't do on some Chinese foldables still. So this is very useful for multitasking. And this is exactly why I was sold on a foldable phone from day one, because I am someone who works on the go a lot. I like having a portable device that stays in my pocket, but at the same time, if I want to open it up, I have basically a mini tablet screen that allows me to get work done. So overall, if you've been a fan of Samsung's Z Fold series, I think there's a lot to like with the Fold 6. However, as I already mentioned, there are Chinese foldables out there that are pushing the boundaries of hardware more than Samsung, and they're probably also charging less because Samsung also increased the price of this guy to $1,900 US. So if you're open to using Chinese foldable phones, I would say give those a look and see if you can handle the slightly inferior hinge and then maybe no stylus support. Because otherwise, when it comes to everything else like battery life and camera prowess, something like a Honor Magic V3 or Xiaomi Mix Fold 4 is going to outperform the Samsung Galaxy Fold. But Samsung has several factors in its favor to make the Fold 6 still more appealing than like the Honor Magic V3, for example. Number one is global availability. No matter where you are in the world right now, whether you're in Singapore or Bangkok or Los Angeles, you can walk into a store and buy this phone probably tomorrow. You can't say that about the Honor Magic V3. The phone's only for China right now, and even when it launches globally, Chinese brands do this thing where they announced a global launch like in August, but you still can't buy the phone in late September. So, it's like they say it's launching and then you don't know which market, you don't know the availability. It's frustrating. If you're a consumer, you just want to buy a new foldable phone, this is still the easiest to get, and Samsung still offers the most years of software updates. You're getting 7 years of Android updates. So this guy runs on Android 14, you're getting all the way up to Android 21. And like I said, the stylus this time, along with the AI features, genuinely make the Fold 6 very useful. Now, I am someone who cares about cameras a lot on my phone, so I think I will still rather use a Chinese foldable phone for the better cameras. But this phone has a lot of appeal for like an office person, a businessman who's always on the go, who just want a device that works. That, you need to take out the device, open a PDF document, make your notes, quickly send it without any software quirks. Like, you're not going to get delayed notifications, like all that nonsense that may come with a Chinese foldable phone. So there's still a lot of appeal with the Fold 6. But I do think this is the final evolution of this phone. And I think with the Fold 7 and on, Samsung really has to think of something outside the box and try something new. There's rumors that Huawei is going to come out with a tri-fold phone pretty soon, like a phone that has 2 folds. So maybe Samsung needs to look into that, because Chinese foldables, the hardware are pushing the boundaries more and more, and Samsung really need to put a little bit more effort on that end to keep up. So yeah, this is my review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. It will help me a lot. And thanks to Sarge for sponsoring this video. This is the Sarge 140. Thanks for watching.